just bear with us. It's just going to take a little bit of a while to go in. It's a little bit hard to queue these ones up.
So, Minister and support team, welcome. Nice to have you here.
Thank you.
We will do our usual, and I presume you might have done your usual way of approaching this in terms of a few minutes to say a few things and then go to questions, unless you've got a wee sheet for us to do.
Both.
Okay, we'll leave it in your hands.
Well, thank you for making the time for rail this afternoon. We have prepared a record of our achievements in the rail portfolio, which you can read before we take any questions you might have.
Yep.
Before we hand out that record, which we're doing at the moment, we note the committee has hours scheduled tomorrow with QRail and Ferry Holdings.
Thank you.
So please reserve operational questions until that time. Today we would be pleased to take questions that are strategic in nature. And allow me please to introduce the following people. Sue Tyndall, the new QRail chair appointed on 1 July 2025. Chris McKenzie, the chair of Ferry Holdings Limited, earlier this year appointed. Peter Reedy, the chief executive of QRail. And Sandeep Ranchod, the new chief executive of Ferry Holdings, who started in September this year after 9 years leading the commercial part of City Rail Link Limited. Right, any questions?
Colleagues, thank you very much. Short and to the point. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Minister, for your time and your written note there. Just have a couple of questions to start around the ferries. The $671 million cancellation costs, can you just confirm that that is the absolute final costs in terms of the cancellation aspects of IREX?
I can confirm that with one exception. We intend to make greater savings of money that looked like it was going to waste. We've already got to over 85 million, so we'll carry on and press on and see how much more we can save.
In terms of the new contract, that has been signed and finalised?
First of all, that's the shipyard currently building 40 ships, right? And that's the sign-off in the last few days.
Are you intending to...
Have you seen your copies of both?
Of the not the photos, but the contract? Right, that'd be great.
I'm not sure that was...
Did I hold
on to the
up,
next question.
words and words matter. Did I hold up the contract? No. I held up 2 photographs and said I'm happy to give you those.
Is it your intention to release components of the contract that has now been signed?
Yes.
Okay, and when?
In the fullness of time.
What is the nature of the agreements with Centre Port and Port Marlborough for the next step of arrangements?
Those are agreements currently underway and being worked on, given that there are port planning agreements required from them on both sides of the island, of the strait. Clearly, I cannot give you the answer to that now, but there are time dates we've set to try and have it achieved. And they're also in the position, of course, of having, when on the Marlborough side, on the Picton side, a significant amount, well, they regard as that, in the way of reserves for the purpose. And also on this side, there are a number of savings and adjustments being done at the moment, which mean we cannot tell you at this point in time until we have concluded those agreements.
Okay, so they're not finalised as of yet.
That's what I said.
Okay, just checking.
Right. Can I just... Oh, I'll go next then. I'll go to you. Just can you walk us through just the differences between you've already alluded to some of the differences between the IREX project as it was and the project we're going to get now in terms of the scope of those projects?
I've only got half an hour here. It'll be a week.
Brief.
Well, perhaps, would you like to answer that? Would you like to answer that?
Which, sorry, can you... It's just the difference in scope between the IREX project as was and the project which we're now going to get. You might want to put it in outcome terms as well as in physical terms.
This is not IREX. It's a completely new
realise
project.
that, yes.
And nothing that related to IREX has come into the new organisation. What we have, however, achieved is 80+ million of what was spent for IREX is now part of the new project. So, for example, we haven't had to do the work in the railway yards apart from some alignment when the new vessels come. We're not doing anything with the terminals. We are not spending any extra money on over-ramps and so forth that would have been required had we not gone to the current location. We've also saved a considerable amount of money by using the same terminal, for example, in Wellington, where you're using the dock wharf as a one side of the U shape where the berth is. So we've saved that sort of money. We've also saved money by ensuring that the link span in both Wellington and Picton are identical, so that we don't have one port designing one sort and the other. So we've saved money by having a common design for the two link spans. But apart from that, there is no other carryover from IREX. It has, however, assisted us in making the internal arrangements of the vessel easy because we haven't had to start from scratch. The important thing about our ships is, while they're slightly smaller and the accommodation requirements are from 18 down to 15, 30, they in fact still meet the projected growth on the ferries for the next 30 years. So we aren't losing anything by slightly reducing. We are gaining better environmental outcomes from the diesel, electric and the batteries that are on the vessel, and the vessels are also being built with the specification that the engines can run on alternative fuels as they become available.
Okay, thank you.
So look, we limited works to the marine infrastructure, to the wharves, link spans, scour protection, passenger connections. There's a passenger building on the south side that was going to be pulled down. There's no need for that. The thing's just been put up. And we retained the rail and road yards and the buildings. That's how we saved 2.3 billion.
2.3 billion. Okay, thank you. Julianne.
So the funding that you're talking about was never available from the Crown. So I'm just wondering, is the funding for the new ferries and any other associated works, has that been appropriated?
You re-predicate your question. At the beginning, you said something which I don't think.
Sorry, I think when you're talking about the savings, you're talking about compared to an amount that might have been needed, but that money hadn't been appropriated. So I'm just wondering, is the money appropriated now for this contract for the new ferries and any other associated works or has it not been appropriated yet?
It's been appropriated.
From the Crown?
Yes.
Was it part of a contingency?
No,
How much has
no,
been
the contingency
appropriated?
the contingency of that appropriation is 415 million. It's built into it.
415 million is the contingency.
It's already built into it. It's already built into the final figure.
So the final figure of the total cost of the ferries and any associated works has already been appropriated from central government.
Here we go. Ship contracts, 596. All Picton works, Port of Marlborough contributions included, 531. All Wellington works, 325. Program management and total contingencies, 415. Total cost, 1867.
Can I just ask, will the Crown own the ships? Or do we know who will own and operate the ships?
Question for tomorrow.
That's a question for tomorrow.
Okay,
But I'm happy to do it today, but
Sure.
I can't.
okay.
Right, Simon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Minister, maybe a question for you, or maybe for one of the officials. I see that upgrading the North Auckland line has been projects completed there, and I understand some of that was in response to storm damage. But the point is made that strengthening the connection to Marsden Point is important. I'm wondering, have there been any suggestions to upgrade the line, say, between Swanson and Kumiu to essentially help Auckland transport out with its passenger network or to upgrade it for freight purposes?
I think I'll get Mr. Reedy to answer that question
Thank
for
you.
you. But can I just say, when you look at some of the plans we've had for railways in this country, one of them is set for completion in 2040. At that time, it'll mean that we've been sitting there for 100 years waiting for this plan to take place. It's that backdrop I'm trying to set the scene for today in terms of getting things done now. Mr. Reedy can perhaps answer.
Thank
Sure,
you.
we can, as you know, we're doing some significant work out at Henderson, but that is really.
Maybe you'll just want to come up to the table. Is that all right?
That will be useful. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Mr. Reedy.
Right.
That line it's a planning requirement and a decision for Auckland Transport in terms of the passenger demand there and the services. We'll obviously respond to any of that. We are upgrading obviously out to Henderson, but it's up to Auckland Transport as to how they want to proceed further to that western area.
And are upgrades necessary to carry more freight, say to Northport in the future?
That, well, firstly, right now, I know AT have been talking about passenger demand. If the port was to move to Northland, yes, there would need to be further upgrade of that line. It's already been upgraded significantly through previous appropriations from government. We've updated the line from Swanson right up to Oakley, 18-tonne axle load. But if more freight was to come down from the port, there'd need to be a further work around the western line.
Okay, thanks.
Other questions? Julianne.
I have some questions, Minister, about provision for passenger rail services in the future. Recently, there was an announcement about a Southern Line service recommencing, but only in a kind of tourism capacity for a limited amount of time. There's a lot of demand for passenger rail services around the country. What work, if any, is the government supporting about extending passenger rail services for regular trips between Tauranga, Hamilton and Auckland, or in the South Island between Dunedin and Christchurch?
Well, before I answer, get someone else to answer the question, we've made a significant change to the Te Huia Auckland connection. But when it comes to Tauranga, there is the what you might call the planning impediment when it comes to the Kaimai Tunnel. We've got to get past that. And then when you talk about the like to haves in the South Island and elsewhere, it's down to the case being made out by the locals for its need. We're certainly enthusiastic, but the case has got to be made. Right?
Correct. I can add to that,
Yeah.
Minister. Thank you. In addition to what the Minister has said, the case does need to be made, and in a lot of those scenarios, that case needs to be made by the regional councils that are involved. And Kiwi Rail would then be supportive of where required. The case has not yet been made. We're happy to take further detailed questions on that tomorrow.
Could it be difficult for the regional councils to be planning for long-term passenger services, given the government's just announced they're looking at getting rid of the regional councils?
It just might be different people who might.
I mean, it's just kind of a barrier.
Well, look, whatever that impression is based on, it is not the in the bailiwick of all these very talented railway people to start answering questions about local government. Surely you understand that.
I guess I'm asking you, as the Minister for Rail, do you see a role for central government in planning intercity passenger rail services and making the case for them, or no?
Look, I have looked back ever since the man called Vogel had the inspiration to build in 10 years, but it took another 130 years to build. And we're about to launch a new type of Vogel era when it comes to New Zealand railways. You stand back and watch.
We'll take a quick pit stop there, but it just feels a bit like Winston's dancing around the questions on there, and bit interesting. Good that Julian's pointed out the fact about the potential dissolution of regional councils and replacing the structure has actually does bring in some problems that do come in there. If you've got any comments that you'd like to sit there and make, feel free to put them into the chat and also go from there. But basically, it feels a bit disingenuous on what's trying to happen on here, and a bit of jumping all over the place. I mean, 1 minute we're talking about Swanson, next minute, but I mean, that's how questions sit there and fly off. And very interesting, the parts that have been, the part that has been mentioned about the fact of the ferries. So it's interesting about the link spans, because I think I remember the link spans, one side was going to have 2 lanes, one's going to have 1, who knows, with the ferry terminals. But yes, it is right that both sides should be built to the same standard for the Inter-Islander and for the Blue Bridge and all that, because that's where the 2 ships are going on. We will...
Thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed to our Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok.